Hello viewers, in this video prepping, got a lot of skills that we need for lots of things. The list is endless. One of the primary ones is basic mechanical skills. Fair enough, a lot of people don't have a lot of mechanical skills. Steve next door doesn't. He had problems with his generator. There was nothing actually wrong with the generator itself. It was just, I suppose you could say, lack of awareness or maintenance for the generator. So the rest of this video I'll go through what we did now. There was only two of us there, and Steve wasn't very comfortable holding the camera while I was logically going through checking things, so I had to do a walkthrough afterwards. But at the same time, while I was working on the generator to find out what the problem was and eventually got it fixed, was that I was showing him what I was doing and explaining things to him. Now this is most important in the prepper community, is that if you don't have the skills, then learn from someone else that does have the skills. It doesn't matter what gender you are, male or female, I don't care. Spread the knowledge, share the knowledge. You've got to share that knowledge. You can't rely on one person who has the aptitude or the specialities in whatever prepper skill you've got. You've got to share that knowledge, because one day that person might not be there, and you've got a big hole in the knowledge base within your prepper group, family, whatever. Okay, so moving on with the video, logically I'll go through what I did, sequence that I checked, and you work out your own sequence, eventually problem solve. Just ran into my next door neighbour over the shop. I'm picking up the mail this morning, and he said his generator hadn't been working since, well, last Saturday. It's now Thursday. Not that we can hear it much from our place. So this is a generator I did a previous review on, and up until lately it hasn't given him any problem at all. But we've had a bit of rain, and this is where it pays to have a bit of basic mechanical knowledge on how combustion engines work. Particularly the petrol or gasoline ones. So I came over and had a look at it. The first thing I checked was the plug, which is seated down there. Make sure the spark plug was alright, it wasn't burned out, the cap wasn't set properly. Then we checked the fuel tank, and it was full of fuel. Now one of the problems you encounter with fuel, particularly unleaded, and it happens with diesel too, is you get water in it. And combustion engines, this is a carburetor type, or water injector, fuel injector type, or even diesel injectors. They don't like water. Water does not burn well with fuel, and that's why we couldn't get it started. So what we found was, I took the air filter off, which is this here, and just down here, I don't know if you can see it in camera, there's a fuel bowl with a little nut on it, so you can, empty the fuel out of the bowl. So we did, and it was almost pure water came out of that fuel bowl, which has a direct feed from the fuel tank. And to give you some idea, I don't know if you can see it in camera here, it's a bit milky, and this is only part of what we drained. Most of that is water. Okay, very little fuel with it. And of course that goes through the carburetor, and when it hits the cylinder with a spark plug, it doesn't work. Okay, so what we did was, the fuel tank was full. We had to empty it out on the ground, and the carburetor intake was inside the tank around about here somewhere, about there somewhere, sitting about 1/4 inch above the bottom of the tank. And what had happened was, there's so much water got in there over time here with bad fuel or wet weather or whatever, and it was just virtually sucking pure water through, so we had to empty the fuel tank out, which we did. on the ground, and there was still about probably a quarter inch of fuel in there below the suction point in the tank, and we had to use this stuff, poke it down the fuel cap on the tank and soak the rest up. We didn't want to tip this thing upside down because then you have all sorts of problems with oil backflowing into the cylinder. Then we tried to start it and put a bit of juice down the carburetor on this, the throat. Fired a couple of times, but she wouldn't keep running. So had another look at it, and what it is a fuel tap bowl just there. Okay, it had a little nut on it which came off. That's the fuel tap. That's the little black one there, turns the fuel on for the generator. So pulled that off and found that was full of water too. So we emptied it out, checked the fuel, put some clean fuel in there, and I put some RP7 down the throat of the carburetor just to get it firing. That's your choke there, that top one, and we eventually got it going. Coughed and spluttered for a while, probably because it's got water through the jets on the carburetor, and it's not a good mix if it's there for a long time, because carburetors are typically brass jets seated inside aluminium casting, and if left for a long time with water through the fuel sitting in the carburetor, it corrodes and you've virtually got a stuffed carburetor. Good luck getting parts for it 2020. So that's the thing with generators. Keep the fuel clean wherever you're getting your fuel from. It's better if you can, when you're pouring the fuel in, there's some way to check that there's no dirt or particularly water in it. So this generator's working all right now. So it pays to have some basic mechanical skills on how combustion engines work, because out in the boonies in the middle of nowhere, Steve would have had to take this into town. It's still under warranty, but if they decide to replace any parts or whatever they thought was wrong with it, 2020, parts from overseas are very scarce at the moment for a lot of engines, including cars. So just basic mechanical skills to fix this problem. If you haven't got basic mechanical skills yourself, perhaps someone in your party, your family, whatever, basic mechanical skills. It's not rocket science, it's just sitting down and working things out. Thank you for watching.